All right, good morning, class. So, our first digital lesson is going to be over finding angles today. So, just to recap, what we're going to go over is first I will show you your homework so you can check it. We will do a quick review on finding sides, teach you about finding missing angles in right triangle trig, practice, and I know you love it, homework. So, first thing is the homework assignments. So, taking out your homework, you can pause this video, but taking out your homework, pause the video, see how everything looks on this side. And then I'm going to flip it over and give you a moment to pause and also take a look on the back. Well, for yours, I think it was on one page. So see how it went, see if there's any questions, send me a remind. All right, let's see if I look at 12 and 13. Don't fret if you did not get it right or you're frustrated. To my knowledge, I believe there might be one question on the test over that. Otherwise, the main key is understanding how to find missing sides when you can't use Pythagorean theorem anymore. Okay, remember, Pythagorean theorem, you're given two missing sides, you can find the third. But as we saw on Friday, we're given a side, we're finding a missing side, and we're given a reference angle, our theta. All right? We're not given a third side. Pythagorean theorem's out the window. All right, so what I'd like you to do is on page 3 of your packet that you should have received. Otherwise, I do have the links to these documents on the school website underneath my name in digital learning. But what I'd like you to do is go to page 3. Remember, we crossed out the back page of the first page. So this is, I believe, our third. If not, I lied, second. But anyway, look for this page. I want you to try these 4 problems, the top 4. Finding missing sides with trigonometry. Okay, try that out and review. And just to remind you, when you're finding missing sides, remember how we labeled what side is opposite the angle? Hypotenuse never changes, it's always the longest side. And then you have your A, your adjacent side. Decide, do I use sine, cosine, or tangent to know how to write the equation? If x is on top and we cross multiply, all we have to do multiply is the number times the function. If x became on the bottom, then it's the constant, the number divided by the trig function. Okay, so pause this video and give that a try. All right, notice that I'm pausing every so often so that way you can pause yourself and take a look. I will now take out the answers. Don't want to show you too much what we're leading into. All right, so take a look. Here's 1 through 4. All right, so just to recap, where is my pen? Feels like you're just right in the classroom, doesn't it? Here we go. So remember, example. That's my reference angle. I have x is opposite or away that angle. They gave me the ramp, h. All I have to work with is O and H. And the only one that has O and H in SOHCAHTOA, the only one with O and H is sine. Hence we use the sine function. Put it over 1, cross multiply. If x happens to be on the bottom, like for the second example, I can prove it, we can prove it by cross multiplying and solving for x that you end up doing or dividing the constant divided by the trig function. That is the key about finding sides. Now let's talk about finding angles. So on that same page, we're going to look at the bottom 4. I'm going to show you how to find missing angles. So, if I look at example 1, finding missing angles with trigonometry, I'm still doing those same steps that I had shown you about finding sides. It's just the third step. The equation's just a smidge different. So here's my reference angle for example 1. I'm going to label my sides. 9 is opposite. The ramp is blank, so I don't need the hypotenuse for this problem, but I do need the A. So I have O and A. Well, the one with OA in it is TOA, so we're using tan. Now, what always goes in parentheses? What always goes in parentheses? Your angle. Well, this time we are finding the angle, so I'm going to put X there. Equals our ratio, 9/20. So it's like what we've been doing, right? It looks pretty similar. However, we do not divide by 1 anymore. We don't cross multiply. Why? Because X isn't part of the ratio. It's now trapped by these parentheses. So the opposite of adding, subtracting, opposite of dividing, multiplying, the opposite of tangent of X, and there's a button on your calculators that we have, and I want to show this for you to first understand why we're doing it. The opposite of tangent is tan to the -1. Sorry if it's hard to see on my device. But tangent of -1 is the inverse of this. But what you do on one side, you do to the other. So what happens here is my tangent cancels out, and I have now unleashed or unlocked X from the parentheses. X is now out of the parentheses. So now I have that to find the angle. It is tan inverse to the -1, parenthesis, its ratio. So in your calculator, I'm sorry if I didn't bring the yellow one, but I did bring this one. If we look here, I'll get a little closer for you. I'm going to put in, remember how we had sine, cosine, and tangent? Well, above is sine inverse, cosine inverse, tan inverse. If you hear my cat meowing, don't mind him. So I'm going to hit second tan. So now it says tan -1. I put in 9 divided by 20, the ratio for tangent. And I've got 24.2. Well, let's make sure one thing. I am in degrees. Okay, make sure you're always in degrees. So the answer is the angle is about 24.2 degrees. Now there is a label. This is degrees. It's an angle. Okay? If you're looking at this in green, you're freaking out. Well, let me show you another one and see if it starts to get the hang of it. All right? So, let's look at example 2. Example 2, still going to label my sides. This may look kind of funky how they have the X in its position for this triangle, but opposite is blank. They gave me the ramp, hypotenuse. And what's left is adjacent. So now I have A and H to work with. So, ka, toa. So we're going to be using cosine. We're finding the angle, so I put X in parentheses, equals adjacent over hypotenuse, because that is the trig ratio. Notice why I was drilling ratios for cosine. So to unleash, to get X by itself, because it's trapped, we do cosine inverse of 17/32. And so let's see, when I put that in the calculator, second cosine, so it's cosine inverse, 17 divided by 32. So our angle is about, well, we'll be specific, 57.9 degrees. We'll say round to the tenths place, because after the 9 is a 1, so it stays 0.9, not 58. All right, so what I want you to do is give the other two problems a try, example 3 and example 4. Just pause this video, pause it, and try those two. All right, hopefully you paused it. Okay, I'll have you take a look at example 3 and 4, see how it went. Really, the sides are the hardest part, in my opinion. typically when I show my classes how to find the angle, y'all love it. It's not that bad, right? So hopefully how I'm explaining on the video is helping you understand how to find the angle. So if I look at example 3, x is trapped. They should have put parentheses. X is trapped. To unleash it, I do the inverse of tan, ratios in parentheses. For example 4, label my sides. I see I need sine. Well, to find sine's angle, to unleash x, it's trapped by sine, I need to do sine inverse, the inverse operation, to find what x equals. Notice that ratio keeps coming back. Ratios are important. So, what I would like you to do is in your packet, I believe it is your page 1 in your packet. Hopefully I have that right for a change. All right, now that you've looked it over, seen how you've been doing, I want you to try out these 6 problems. Just 6 more problems for me. Try out these 6. All right, and see how it goes. Pause the video. All right, hopefully you paused. Have you take a look. Now, if you're wondering about calculators, I don't have the calculator, I don't know where to go, I will send you on Remind or message you on the website to tell you what is a good online calculator to use. Off the top of my head, I would just honestly Google online graphing calculator and just go from there. Sometimes you have to try out the first 3 links and see how it looks. But I will get back to you on a better one I find. All right, hopefully it is going okay. So, what I would like you to do is now, I know there's a mixed review section below, but I'm debating if I want you to do that or just dive right in to your homework. You know what, for those who are watching the video and taking it seriously and trying, I'm gonna say, yes, please try out those problems on the bottom, along with the problems that are, yep, so I want you to try out 7 through 14, and we'll go over 17 and 18, some story problems, and call it a day. So try out 7 through 14 where it's mixed. Then you got to shuffle back and forth from sides to angles. So pause it. All right. Hopefully you paused. Hopefully you tried. Those that did, thank you so much. Now, for those of you, sometimes I have my life together. There we go. Here is 7 through 10. If I look quickly, 7, it's on the outside, I'm finding a side. 8, finding a side. 9, they gave me the angle, I see X is on the outside. So actually the first 4 were just finding sides. It was more review on finding missing sides. And then if I could find the other page, watch, it's the back page. Yep. All right, here is 11 through 14. See how it went there, pause it, take a look, check your work. All right, now let's talk about these story problems on the very bottom of that page. So if I look here, I see, okay, I'm gonna go over, I'll go over both. One's about finding a side, one's about finding an angle. Yes, I can tell because I'm a math teacher. So, 17. A ladder leaning against a wall makes an angle of 75 degrees with the ground. Well, if the ladder is leaning against something, and we're looking at how the ladder is leaning compared to the ground, then that means it's forming a 75-degree angle from the ladder with the ground. So that's where I put my angle. If the foot of the ladder, so bottom, is 6 feet from the base of the wall. So the bottom of the ladder is 6 feet away from the base of the wall, base meaning bottom. So here's my wall. Here's the ladder. You don't have to write ladder, but I'm just going to write it instead of drawing it. And it says that it's 6 feet. What is the length of the ladder? So we're finding this side. We're finding the length of the ladder. I'll use a different color, so I'm going to label my sides. I see opposite my 75 degrees, there's nothing here, so opposite's not being used. I'm given hypotenuse, and apparently I'm also using adjacent. So to find the ladder's length, AH is cosine. Am I given the angle? Yes. Equals adjacent, 6, over hypotenuse, x. We're finding a side now. So it's like your homework that was due today. So we put this over 1. I would cross multiply. But since I see that x is on the bottom, I'm going to take the constant divided by the trig function. And that will give me x. So if we do 6 divided by cosine of 75, you get 23.2 feet. So the missing side, which is our ladder, the ladder is a length of 23.2 feet, which that makes sense with how far it would lean away, 6 feet away from the wall. And that is what you do there. Remember, you read it part by part. Don't read the whole thing and get overwhelmed. So let's look at number 18. 18. Jaden is flying a kite and I don't think he said that well, he's releasing 275 feet of string. All right, so we got a Jaden. So Jaden, apparently you're in the story. So Jaden is letting out string. Well, if it's letting out string, the kite to the string, it's going to be the hypotenuse. It's going up at an angle to the sky. If the kite is 150 feet above the ground, so let's say here's the ground. So he is 150 feet. It wants to know, assuming the string is straight, what angle does the string make with the ground? The string to the ground. Notice now it said what angle, so now I know I'm finding an angle. All right, so I still label my sides. I've got opposite and hypotenuse, but no adjacent side to use. So what do we use? O and H, sine. So now it is sine. We're finding the angle, so it's trapped, equals 150 over 275. So to see what x equals, we do the inverse of sine and put the ratio in parentheses. And when we put that in the calculator, remember it's second sine, and then it'll say sine inverse on your screen. So sine inverse of 150 divided by 275, and the angle from the string to the ground is 33.1 degrees. Okay, I know it's a little bulky, a little not as organized as I like, but it writes kind of large with these markers. All right, so that is today's lesson, everybody. Recapped on finding sides. We learned and practiced finding missing angles now, and now it's weaving together with story problems. So, in your packet that you have, Again, if you don't have it, it is on the website. So actually, this is page 1, 2. All right, so page 2. So where it says homework 4, finding sides and angles, I want you to try all 1 through 16, please. Now, I won't be heartbroken if you don't do 13 and 14, but it cannot hurt to try, especially with practicing. All right, so 1 through 16, homework 4, finding sides and angles. That will be due. Send me pictures of your homework before 9 a.m. On Tuesday. So before 9 a.m. Tuesday, when I release the next video of our next lesson, I need to see pictures of these. If I don't see pictures of them, you send it to me after 9 a.m., then it's going to be counted as a 50. And I will send you a remind today, which right now is Sunday. All right, so make sure you do this. Send it to me by remind, taking pictures before, we'll say by 9 a.m. on Tuesday. All right, class, have a good one.